Natural disasters have shaped our world in unimaginable ways. From devastating earthquakes to catastrophic floods, these events remind us of nature's raw power. Today, we're counting down the top 8 most destructive natural disasters in history. Let's dive in. Starting off at number 8, imagine a storm so powerful that it reshapes a region. The Great New England Hurricane of 1938. On September 21st, 1938, a Category 3 hurricane struck the East Coast, catching everyone off guard. Meteorologists didn't see it coming. It roared through Long Island, unleashing winds up to 180 miles per hour. As it moved north, the storm wreaked havoc. Coastal towns were flooded, and thousands of homes were destroyed. Over 600 people lost their lives. Entire communities were wiped off the map. This hurricane changed how we forecast storms. It highlighted the need for better warning systems. In its wake, New England faced years of recovery. The Great New England Hurricane remains one of the most destructive natural disasters in U.S. history, reminding us of nature's fierce power. Coming up next, at number 7, on November 12, 1970, a serene day turned into a nightmare. The waters of the Bay of Bengal began to churn ominously, heralding one of the deadliest storms in history, the Bola Cyclone. Packing winds up to 115 miles per hour, the cyclone slammed into East Pakistan, now Bangladesh. It brought with it a catastrophic storm surge that inundated coastal communities, catching thousands off guard. As the floodwaters rose, over 500,000 people were swept away. Homes, livelihoods, and entire villages were lost in mere hours. Survivors described it as a wall of water that swallowed everything in its path. In the aftermath, the world watched as aid poured in. Yet, political turmoil and inadequate response worsened the tragedy, fueling anger and resentment among survivors. The 1970 Bola Cyclone remains a haunting reminder of nature's fury and the importance of preparedness. It teaches us that in the face of disaster, compassion and swift action are crucial. Next up, at number 6, the 2010 Haiti earthquake shook the world in more ways than one. On January 12th, a 7.0 magnitude earthquake struck just 16 miles from the capital, Port-au-Prince. In just a few moments, entire buildings crumbled, trapping thousands beneath the rubble. The sheer scale of the devastation was overwhelming. Over 220,000 people lost their lives, and more than 1.5 million were left homeless. But why was this earthquake so destructive? Haiti's poorly constructed infrastructure couldn't withstand the quake's force, leaving the nation in ruins. Hospitals, schools, and homes were reduced to rubble. The international community rushed to help, but the recovery was slow, highlighting the country's deep-rooted poverty and political instability. To this day, the 2010 Haiti earthquake remains one of the most devastating natural disasters in history, a stark reminder of how fragile life can be when nature strikes with its full force. Up next, at number 5, on December 26, 2004, one of the deadliest natural disasters in recorded history struck the Indian Ocean. A massive 9.1 magnitude earthquake shook the seafloor near Indonesia, triggering a tsunami that unleashed towering waves across 14 countries. Within hours, walls of water as high as 100 feet crashed into coastlines, devastating entire communities. Over 230,000 people tragically lost their lives, with millions more left homeless. In places like Thailand, Sri Lanka, and India, the destruction was unimaginable. Whole villages swept away in minutes. What made this tsunami so catastrophic was its sheer scale, affecting countries thousands of miles apart. The Indian Ocean tsunami also caught many off guard. There was no warning system in place, leaving little time for people to evacuate. In the aftermath, the world united in relief efforts, but the scars remain today. The 2004 tsunami is not just a reminder of nature's power, but also of our need to be prepared. Next up, at number 4, in 1887, one of the deadliest natural disasters in history struck China, the Yellow River flood. The Yellow River, known for its unpredictable course, overflowed its banks in a catastrophe that would claim an estimated 900,000 to 2 million lives. For centuries, the river had been called China's sorrow due to its frequent flooding, but this time, it was worse than ever. The rising waters submerged entire villages, wiping out crops and leaving millions homeless. With limited technology, there was little that could be done to stop the destruction. The floodwaters didn't just cause devastation, they led to widespread famine and disease, making recovery even harder for survivors. As the river changed course, it also altered the landscape of China forever. The sheer scale of this disaster remains one of the greatest human tragedies ever recorded, showing the incredible force of nature and the vulnerability of human civilization. Next up, at number 3, did you know that one of the deadliest natural disasters in human history happened in 1556? It was the Shanji Earthquake in China. In just minutes, this catastrophic quake flattened entire towns, killing an estimated 830,000 people. That's almost the population of San Francisco today. What made it so deadly? Most people at the time lived in yaodongs, homes carved into the sides of cliffs. When the earthquake struck, struck, these homes collapsed, burying families alive. The tremors stretched across over 500 miles, destroying 97 counties. Today, the Shanji Earthquake remains the deadliest quake on record. Imagine the ground shaking so hard that the very earth swallows entire villages. That's what happened that tragic day in 1556. It serves as a reminder of how powerful and unpredictable nature can be. Up next, at number 2, in 1815, Mount Tambora in Indonesia unleashed one of the most powerful volcanic eruptions in history. It was so massive that it wiped out entire villages and claimed over 71,000 lives. But the real devastation went far beyond Indonesia. The eruption sent a massive cloud of ash and sulfur high into the atmosphere, blocking sunlight and altering global weather patterns. This caused what came to be known as the Year Without a Summer in 1816. Crops failed, leading to widespread famine in Europe, Asia, and North America. Temperatures dropped, and people even saw snow falling in June. It's hard to grasp how one volcanic eruption could cause so much chaos around the world. Livestock died, food became scarce, and people were left struggling to survive. Mount Tambora's eruption not only changed the landscape, but impacted the entire planet, making it one of the most destructive natural disasters in human history. At last, number 1, the deadliest natural disasters in history happened in China in 1931. The 1931 China floods were catastrophic. A combination of severe snowmelt, heavy rain, and overflowing rivers led to massive flooding across central China, including the Yangtze, Yellow, and Huai rivers. The destruction was unimaginable. It's estimated that the floods affected over 50 million people. Villages were wiped out, crops were destroyed, and entire communities were left underwater. As food supplies dwindled, famine and disease took hold, leading to even more deaths. Some estimates say the death toll reached 4 million, but the true number may never be known. It wasn't just a flood, it was a perfect storm of disasters that left a lasting scar on the country. Today, it's considered one of the most devastating natural disasters ever recorded. If you thought floods were just about rising water, the 1931 China floods remind us how nature's fury can spiral out of control.